Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Well, it's time once again to take the Census of Agriculture. Doug Bounds, State Statistician with the Kansas branch of the National Ag Statistics Service, will join us to discuss. We'll also have features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, and market information from Pinion and the weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com. In agricultural news, three leading farm credit associations, American Ag Credit, Farm Credit Services of America, and Frontier Farm Credit, have partnered to establish and offer Terrain to their customers. Terrain is a new source of ag industry analysis for U.S. farmers and ranchers. Don Close, internationally recognized leader in cattle marketing and policy, leads the team. He serves as Terrain's chief researcher and analytics officer. The rest of the team brings extensive experience providing insight and analysis across the food and agricultural value chain. Also on the team, David Weber, senior animal protein analyst, whose career analyzing live animal and meat business spanned the entire meat supply chain for beef, pork, and poultry. Well, Kansas agriculture has been impacted significantly by drought conditions across the state. But K-State Water Resources Engineer Jonathan Aguilar said a web-based application can help farmers plan for the future. The K-State Mobile Irrigation Lab includes a crop water allocator to help farmers with limited water resources maximize their return. Now, with this new tool, he says, farmers can decide the best crop combination for their fields, then estimate net returns. He recommends playing with that application to understand its function and decide what scenario works best for an individual operation. You can find out more on the Crop Water Allocator online or by contacting your local extension office throughout Kansas. And statewide precipitation in October averaged much below normal at 69 hundredths or 30% of the normal amount. This ranks as the 15th driest October in Kansas out of 128 years of records, the driest October since 2010. Also the fifth straight month in which Kansas averaged below normal precip statewide. Southeast Kansas had the highest percentage of normal, 51%, all others 40% or less. Southwest Kansas, very dry again in the month, an average of just 5 hundredths or 3% of normal. That's the fourth driest October on record. West Central Kansas also recorded the fifth driest October on record, an average of just 11 hundredths of precip. When combined with August and September, the average precipitation for that time frame, 3 inches 25 hundredths, the driest on record for the state of Kansas. More in a moment.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, But how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. And joining us now is Doug Bounds, who is the Chief Statistician for the National Ag Statistics Service, the Kansas branch. Doug, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for having me.
We want to talk with you about something that encourage producers and landowners and folks to watch their mailbox. It is already that time again to get the Census of Agriculture started and completed. And so I guess first give us that overall view. It's hard to believe it's already that time already.
It is hard to believe that the Census of Agriculture comes every 5 years, but it feels like it comes a lot quicker than that. The Census of Agriculture is the nation's only comprehensive and impartial compilation of agricultural data. We get data from every county and every state across the country, including Puerto Rico and some of the outlying territories. It's the producers' chance to make their voices heard. So everybody that makes decisions based on agricultural data knows exactly what's going on in America's farms and ranches.
And this is kind of the base of how things work over that time frame. I mean, there's no speculation, there's no emotion, and it's simply just a statistical coverage of animals, acreage, crops planted, so on and so forth, that has really a big impact for every state.
That's right. We will collect data on livestock inventories, crop production throughout the entire 2022 calendar year. We will ask additional questions such as demographics of who is operating Americans' farms and ranches. That information is important to policymakers that will be making decisions and creating farm policy going forward for programs based on things that wide-ranging, such as gender to conservation practices, all kinds of different things related to domestic agriculture.
Right. And the other thing I think is always kind of interesting is those of us that kind of are geeks, or whatever the right word to use, is to keep those from the past. And of course, technology has changed to where, the big thick books anymore, but to go back and see how things have developed, maybe it's in your home county or even as a state. And now things like cover crops and some of those other practices like no-till and other things that have evolved over the years.
And the Census of Agriculture began in 1840, and it's been conducted on different schedules since then, but for quite a while now, it's been every 5 years. And you can go back to, say, the early 1900s and look up and see how many farms had electricity. We've moved past those kind of questions, but now kind of a hot button topic is how many farms have internet access. If we go back to 2017, almost a full quarter of farms and ranches in Kansas did not have access to the internet. So that's important for the broadband initiative and for moving forward and making sure everybody is connected so that everybody can do business that they need to do.
Right. We're talking with Doug Bounds, who is with the Kansas branch of the National Ag Statistics Service. He is Chief Statistician here for the state. We're going to take a break, come back, and then talk about those all-important dates and what to be looking forward in your mailbox or online to participate in the Census of Agriculture. We'll do that in just a moment. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
And our guest is Doug Bounds, who is with the Kansas branch of the National Ag Statistics Service. He is the chief statistician here for the state of Kansas, talking about the Census of Agriculture. So, Doug, let's talk about those, I guess, either the deadlines or next week, folks should be getting a postcard or some sort of correspondence to say, hey, we're about ready to start collecting the data.
So for this census, we're going to contact nationwide about 2.9 million farms and ranches or potential farms and ranches, with about 80,000 of those being here in Kansas. So the ones that we know that have told us in the past that they have internet access, on November 21st, we're going to begin mailing postcards to those operations, asking them to go online and respond to the Census of Agriculture online, because it's the fastest and frankly the cheapest way to respond. After that, come about mid-December, we will do our first paper mailing of the census to those operations that have not gone online to respond. And then we'll do a couple other follow-up mailings to increase and maximize the response rate. And then we will ask for all of those to be completed by February 6th of 2023.
All right. So again, you have till February, and I know I'm trying to think. I think I still get I haven't let everybody know that we do have internet access at the house now, but it does come and it sits there, and you want to make sure. We always got to leave it out to make sure we get it filled out and try, as accurately as possible, because those things are important. So, okay. So February, you want to have everything completed. Now, if it doesn't, of course, then you're going to go make those follow-up calls. And then, so after it's all compiled, when will we have the latest numbers?
State and county level information is scheduled to come out in probably mid to late February of 2024, because it takes us a full year to analyze the data and put together the publications and make sure everything's in order. Once we have the state and county level information out, then we will begin working on tabulations for congressional district, as well as watershed, and even down to the zip code level.
All right. Well, Doug, we appreciate you and your team's effort in Kansas to get all those numbers out. So again, folks, watch your mail the week of the 21st. Those cards will be going out, and then make that connection online, and or an email, whatever, that will say how you can get that census taken care of. And as always, it's not the census is not a competition. It's simply a matter of accounting for what is on your farm, as well as the county, state, and national.
That's right.
All right, Doug. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And I hope you got your pencil sharp, because you're going to be doing a lot of writing.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. We've got a busy year ahead of us.
All right, thanks. Doug Bounds, who is chief statistician here for the state of Kansas National Ag Statistics Service branch here in Kansas, has joined us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Today we are going to give you a behind-the-scenes look of Kansas Corn STEM. So Kansas Corn STEM is managed by two people that are full-time, myself as the Director of Education, and then Aaron Rios, who is the Manager of Education Programs, and then we have an assistant, John Rios. In my role as the Director of Education, I kind of oversee all of the education programs. I specifically focus on the curriculum that we provide and the management of all of the individuals that help this program. But in addition to those staff members, we also work with over 15 teachers in the state who conduct training, help write the curriculum, and do outreach events.
We're at the Garnet office where we house all of the education materials that we need to mail out and put together any of the kits. So we provide most of the supplies that a teacher needs to teach the lesson. The lessons are inquiry-based lessons, so the teacher might not have all the materials that the students need to conduct their experiments. So we provide them with a gift card with a small amount on it for them to be able to go out and buy those materials that we don't supply them. For example, one of the lessons talks about what you plant a seed in to make it grow, so they might have to go out and buy sand and rocks and such to be able to, for the students to conduct that experiment.
We love being able to help all you teachers.
Thanks for joining us today to see the behind the scenes of Kansas Corn STEM.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
3 Kansas wheat producers stepped out of the tractor and onto Capitol Hill in mid-September to share their on-the-ground perspective of the major issues impacting agriculture and present potential policy solutions for the next Farm Bill. Getting farmers on the Hill allows Kansas legislators and their staff to ask farmers questions directly on issues they are discussing, said Shanna DeGroat, Kansas Wheat Director of Membership and Government Affairs, who accompanied the group. Farmers can tell legislators directly what's going on in farm country and fill in knowledge gaps. These face-to-face conversations are beneficial and productive, with both sides presenting their ideas and solutions. The delegation representing the Kansas Association of Wheat Growers was part of the larger fall fly-in organized by the National Association of Wheat Growers. During the afternoon each day, the Kansans, including Chris Tanner from Norton, Clay Shem from Sharon Springs, and Kyler Miller-Shasky from Lakin, met with elected officials and their staff with the U.S. Senate and U.S. House of Representatives. During the Hill visits, the COG crew walked legislators through the 2021-2022 growing season, with drought impacting most of the state, average yields decreasing significantly from the previous year, 38 bushels per acre in 2022 compared to 52 bushels an acre in 2021. Legislators can assist Kansas farmers with an expanding list of concerns, including the high cost and limited availability of fertilizer, high crop insurance premiums, shortages in farm labor, and continued drought and wildfires. The COG crew outlined how leaders can help farmers, including by promoting agricultural exports, advocating for crop insurance programs, reducing regulatory costs, and supporting agricultural research. Learn more about the benefits of joining COG and share your top concerns for the next Farm Bill at kansaswheat.com/advocacy.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the soybean checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
I'm Debbie Lyons-Blythe, and I'm a cattle rancher in the Flint Hills of Kansas. And I'm really proud to be a rancher because cows are actually a superhero. They have an amazing power to eat things that we cannot eat and turn them into a delicious, nutritious source of protein. We call that upcycling. Not only can they eat grass, but they can eat other things as well. It's really important, though, that because cows need grass, we need to make sure that we manage the grass in the appropriate way. I live in the Flint Hills of Kansas, and grassland management is really foundational here. But it's different. You don't raise grass in the same way in Wyoming versus Alabama. So the recommendation is that we have a grazing management plan that's appropriate to our own regions. If you have a grazing management plan, you are impacting the quality of the land, water, and greenhouse gases. So you might ask, how does that impact greenhouse gases? Grasslands sequester carbon at a tremendous rate. And how do we make sure that we continue to sequester carbon? We continue to keep this land in grass. And cows help us do that. If we did not have cows grazing this area, it would grow up into a scrubby forest. And the trees that would grow up here do not sequester carbon. These grasses reach deep down into the soil, sometimes 20 feet deep, to put that carbon in really deep. In addition, the roots of the grasses help the soil to be able to infiltrate water when it rains. In addition, because photosynthesis is the foundation of grasslands, cows grazing the grass continues and encourages more photosynthesis. So if they eat the grass down, it regrows and sequesters more carbon. The carbon cycle of a cow is interesting. So cows do emit methane. They do. They burp methane, and that goes into the atmosphere and is within 10 years converted to CO2. That CO2 then is necessary for photosynthesis for the grass. The grass regrows, the cows eat it, and that cycle happens. For the most part, the carbon that is within that cycle is absolutely recycled and is not new carbon adding to the atmosphere.
To learn more about sustainability on the farm, visit KansasLivingMagazine.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Good day. I'm Derek Hermish with Pinion, a division of KCO ISOM. Volatile grain markets are the new normal, it seems. The good thing about true volatility is that it creates much more opportunity than flat markets. However, your opportunity to experience regret is much greater as well. For example, say you sell your soybeans on a 50-cent rally only to watch it go up another $1 the next week after you sell. Can you be happy about selling into the initial rally, or are you going to focus on what you missed out on? Regret should be the least of your concerns when it comes to marketing, but it can rear its ugly head in these environments and negatively affect decisions down the road. Selling your grain at profitable levels is the key. That's what you're always told, but it's never that simple. It is true that you will not go broke selling for a profit, but you're not in the business of making widgets for $1 and selling them for $2. Volatile markets provide opportunity, but they also provide opportunity cost. If you make a decision that nets you 50 cents less on average for your grain than your fellow neighboring farmers, nobody's going to offer you a discount on fertilizer or seed or equipment repairs to help you make up for it. Quite the opposite, as we've seen recently with inputs going higher. There are options, literally, that can be very useful in volatile markets. Yes, I am referring to puts and calls. I know there are many of you out there that are not fans of options. I talk to you quite frequently, and sometimes I agree with you. But in my experience, this is the environment to utilize them. If you'd like to visit with us about it, give us a call at 888-452-8751. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame inductees and industry award winners will be honored January 31st of 2023 during the group's 14th annual banquet. The event will be held just prior to the Cattle Industry Convention in New Orleans, February 1st through the 3rd. Honorees will include Kansas Livestock Association Chief Executive Emeritus D. Likes, who will receive the Industry Leadership Award. Likes joined the KLA staff in 1976 after working as a Cattlefax analyst. In January 1984, he was named Executive Vice President and Chief Executive Officer, a position he remained in until 2014. Inductees into the Hall of Fame for 2023 will be Jerry Adams with Adams Land and Cattle in Broken Bow, Nebraska, and the late Ed Barrett of Barrett Crowfoot Feed Yards in Hereford, Texas. Terry Wegner with Drennan West Cattle Company of Palmer, Nebraska will receive the Arturo Armendariz Distinguished Service Award, which is named after a longtime devoted employee of Pokey Feeders of Scott City. Tickets for the Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame banquet can be purchased when registering for the Cattle Industry Convention. All proceeds from banquet ticket sales benefit future Hall of Fame initiatives. To register, go to convention.ncba.org. For more information about the Cattle Feeders Hall of Fame and the 2023 inductees, visit cattlefeeders.org.
That's our show this week. Be social with us at kansasagreport.net or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.